In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a simple but effective landing page using Thrive Architect. Hi, I'm Ken Furukawa of kenfurukawa.com, and I provide helpful tips and information to help you build your affiliate marketing business. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you don't miss out on content like this. And if you're looking to start an affiliate marketing business, click on the link below to follow a proven step-by-step blueprint and start making money online today. Landing pages are a key tool in any affiliate marketer's tool belt. A landing page is a single page with a single purpose. That purpose can be to get them to subscribe to your email list, register for a webinar, or even give a special discounted offer. If you would like a deeper dive into what a landing page is, check out my other video. What is a landing page? Okay, let's head over to my computer and I'll give you an over-the-shoulder view as I build one. Keep in mind, this is not a tutorial about copywriting or advanced design. It's meant to show you how to build a landing page so you can get started, which is the most important thing to do. Copywriting is a whole other beast, and we'll tackle that in a future video. Okay, so here we are in my WordPress dashboard, and we are going to build our landing page. Now let's go ahead, go to pages, and add a new page. And the first thing we want to do is we want to name this page. So we're going to name it How to Build a Landing Page. Okay, and then we're going to publish that page. And once the page is published, then we are going to launch Thrive Architect. So click on this green button here. And while Thrive Architect is loading, you're going to notice that the page shows up here, right? How to build a landing page. But wait a minute, this is the exact same theme that I'm using right now for my web page. Oh no. So don't panic, don't freak out. This is just a rendering of what the page looks like using your builder, okay? But we're using Thrive Architect. So all you have to do is go to this little cloud and you hover over it and it says change template. When you click on that, now you're gonna see Thrive present you with a bunch of different templates, okay? So you can scroll through at your leisure and pick one that you like. What you can do is you can, for instance, if I click on this one, you can choose these templates. They're already pre-made. And for instance, if I click on this one right here, this is what it looks like, okay? This is what the template looks like. You can easily go in here and change the copy. You can change the colors. You can do whatever you want to it. Thrive makes it easy for you by creating these templates so that way you can get started quickly. And that's the main point, is that you need to start quickly. I think a lot of beginners spend too much time trying to perfect that landing page, when you can just get one of these templates and you can just change things around and pretty much be up and running very quickly, okay? So that's the quickest way to do it. You can just launch the template, okay? You can use the template, change it up, and then use that as your landing page, or you can build one from scratch. So this tutorial is gonna cover that. We're gonna build one from scratch, from a blank slate here, okay? So if I head back, and I'm gonna just scroll up here, and I'm gonna choose this blank pages, and you can see it, there's even templates for blank pages, which is kind of funny. But they have a blank page box and a blank page styled. We're just going to choose a blank page. So let's click on that and choose a template. And now our existing WordPress template is now covered by the Thrive Architect template. So this is what it looks like. It's completely blank, and we are going to attempt to build something that's very similar to this, okay? Very simple. So first of all, you see up here, if I hover, this says text, and this is your headline. Okay, this is your headline. What we want to do is we want to center it, okay, just like this, and we want to create a larger headline here, okay, because the font is really small and very different. So we're going to click on the center align, and that aligns it in the center. And then you can increase the size here. So you see this little slider bar? You can increase it just by dragging it. So we're going to go big. We're going to go, let's go 82 point. Okay, that's pretty big. That looks about right. And I want to change the font here, okay? So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click on this, and you can choose from Google Fonts, WebSafe fonts, or inherent landing page font. But I think this is like kind of some kind of default. So I'm going to go with Google Fonts, And then I'm just going to click on the show recommended fonts only, okay? Because if you already click in here in this search box, you can see there's like a gazillion fonts in here. So I'd rather just kind of narrow that down to what Thrive recommends. So I'm going to click on this box right here, and now I've only got a few to choose from. This just makes it so much easier to do, right? Because right now it's about speed. It's about building your landing page and getting up and running, okay? So I just so happen to recognize what this font Leto, so I'm going to use this as my example, and I'm going to click on that, okay? And you can see this is the Leto font, okay? It's already bolded. You can see this is blue. So if I highlight this and I click on this, this is what it looks like unbolded, but I want it to be bold. So I'm going to click on bold, okay? And then now I need to change this to say 10 easy ways to quickly get more leads. So I've already copied that information here. So I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to just paste it in here. Paste, okay? So as you can see, it's very, very long. Okay, I've got to break it down into 3 lines. So there's a break at 2 and a break at more. Okay, so I'm gonna do this 2 and a break at more. Okay, so another thing I notice here, right? Look how closely aligned these lines are, right? And look how much space is in between mine. All right, so I'm gonna close up that gap. And I'm gonna do it by highlighting that, and I'm gonna go to line height. Okay. And then from there, I want to use this slider bar, and I can actually make it wider or I can make it closer. So we're going to go drop it down. Yeah, let's go to 0.55. That looks good. 0.6. Oh, 0.6. That's fine. Okay, so now everything's closer together. The middle line is a certain type of green. It looks like a minty green. So I'm going to go and highlight this. Okay, and you already noticed that it's already set at black. That's the default color. I'm just going to click on that, and from here you can use this slider and you can slide to choose a different color if you want. Okay, we're going to choose a different color. Okay, so I want to use let's say red or orange. Okay, so I stop right there, but it's still black. So all I need to do is I need to just slide this up and find the type of orange that I like. Okay, so that's good right there. Okay, you can also, if you already know the color code, you can just input the color code in there, but I'm just doing this from scratch. So I'm just gonna save this color, so I'm gonna apply it. Okay, now I noticed that on this landing page, the color of the button is the same as the color of the text, and that can be challenging if you didn't write down the code. So you can either write this down, or if you feel like you're gonna use this color a lot, then all you have to do is add it to my colors. So just click on save color. Okay, so we're going to add that. Okay, we're going to add it as a favorite color. So I'm going to click on that. So now I've got 2 colors already saved. Okay, and I'm going to apply it. Okay, so now when we go back and we have this button here, we'll be able to change it to the exact same color. Okay, just for consistency's sake. Okay, now below that, we're going to add a subhead. Okay, so let's head on back and let's go and add an element. I'm going to drop in some text right below. So if you notice, when I drag this around, I can drop this text anywhere I want. You can see the arrow, the blue arrow pointing down, saying below text or above text. In this case, I want to go below leads. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way down here and I'm going to let that go. And you can see here's a text box right here. Now, if you look over here, we've got to center this and we've got to change the font and we've got to make it a little bit larger. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll just go ahead and highlight that. We'll center it, okay? And then we want to make it a little bit bigger. So we'll go ahead and we'll change that. So we'll use our little slider here and we'll make the text a little bit bigger. How's about we go with 30 point, okay? And we also need to change the font. So let's go ahead. Let's go back into Google. And it says Leto here, but you can change it to whatever you want. Normally I suggest you go with something that's like related or the exact same font, but in this case I'm just gonna go I'm gonna just choose Leto again. Okay, we'll just keep it at Leto. Okay, and then I need to change that text. So I've already copied that previously, so I'm just gonna copy this off of my notepad and then I'm gonna paste it in there. Okay, so that looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good. Now, maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. This is a little bit too big. So let's go ahead and shrink that down maybe to, I don't know, 25. That looks good. Okay. So we got that text in there. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to input or have a lead generation box. Okay. So this one, again, you're going to head up here to this add element button here. So you can click on that. And you can scroll through all of these and see all the different possibilities that you have that you can add in there. Or you can just type in lead. And you can see that it pulls up the blocks that have the word lead in them. So I'm going to just drag this in here, but I want to show you a couple of things here. So first of all, I'm going to drop it in right below the text. And what you notice is this is like ginormous, right? I mean, it just stretches out to the entire page. So what we need to do is we need to make this smaller. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick here. I'm going to delete this and we're going to add in some columns. Okay. So we're going to go in here, add an element, and we're going to search for columns. Okay. So here it is. And we're going to drop it beneath again. And now we can select the amount of columns that we have. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to use this column right here because I want 3 columns. I want this thing to be centered. Okay. And I want the middle to be a little bit bigger. So we're going to go ahead and select this. And we're going to have 3 columns here. Okay. I can also, make this smaller if I want to by default. Okay. So we'll just leave that back, hopefully back where we got it from. Anytime you need to go back, all you have to do is click this button right here that undoes what you just did. Okay. So now it's back to normal. Okay. So let's see here. Let's take a look at this page. It's about the same size, same width. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's shrink this to make it about the same. Okay. Okay. So that looks good. Now, what we need to do now is go back again and look for that lead generation box. So let's type in lead and let's drag it and drop it into the center column. Perfect. Okay. So if you can see, that is pretty much the same size. Okay. Now, when you look at this lead generation box, we're going to customize this. Okay. Number of things. We got to change the color, right? We got to change the wording. We have to get rid of one of these fields because all we want is the email field. And if you notice, this is a horizontal layout. Okay. This is horizontal. Okay. Where the button and the field are on the same line. This is a vertical alignment here. Okay. So everything's aligned vertically. So in order for us to change that, we're going to click anywhere in this lead generation box and you can see it pulls up all these options over here. Okay. So I'm not going to go over how to, change a bunch of these things like connecting to your autoresponder. That'll be a different video. But for now, we're just going to show you how to build this, this page. Okay. So first of all, what we need to do is, if you notice here, these form fields, okay, we need to get rid of one of them. So we need to get rid of the the name field. Okay. So, but before we do that, I want to just show you that if you click on this little pencil, you can actually edit the placeholder name. So for instance, if you were collecting phone numbers, right? If you type in phone and you click on apply, you notice that it changes to phone. Okay. If you want to make this required, right? You can click on the required button. Okay. If you don't want to require it, then we unclick that. Okay. And you just apply it. Okay. Now, to delete that, all you have to do is click on this little trash can. Okay, now we've deleted that first input field and now we have just our email field. And again, if you want to change that, you can. Okay, so let's change it to enter your best email. Okay, just to show you. Okay, so there you go. Now we can change that. Now, if we want to change anything else in here, what we can do is go ahead and click on it and click on this orange button here called Edit Form Elements. So click on that. And now we're able to edit these elements. So this element right here is your lead generation input field. And this is your lead generation submit button. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to first focus on the lead generation input. So I'm going to click inside that box and I'm going to change this. So you can actually add an icon in here. So if you want to add an icon, you can do so. You can search for an icon. So in this case, I just want to show it to you. So let's put an arrow, okay, because we want to point to where we want people to put their information. So let's go ahead and choose this if we want, okay. and it's on this side. If we want to move it over to this side, we just click on this button right here. So you can change that if you want to, okay? But I'm just going to get rid of it, okay, because we don't need that. Now, let's close out this, okay? Let's check out the typography, okay? So this is where we can change the font in here, okay? So we can go ahead and change the font if we want to. Again, we can use recommended fonts, okay? So we can change it to whatever font we want, right? Same thing like last time. If you want to use Lato again, you can. Let's go ahead and just enter that in for consistency's sake and click apply, okay? Now you can change the alignment of the words, okay? So if I want to center it, I can do that. Actually, I'm going to do that. Well, this one's on the left side and we're going to change the alignment. So let's go ahead and let's put it back to left aligned. And we can change the font size, okay? So if we want to make this a little bit bigger, you can notice that the box changes in size as well, okay? Which is kind of cool. So let's go ahead and just change it to 20 point, okay? Let's leave it at that. Now we can change the layout and position of this box, meaning I can change the space up and below it, okay, if I want to, but we're just going to leave it as is. I can change the background style. Right now it's just basically some kind of like a light gray. I can change that if I want to, but I'm going to leave that. Borders and colors, I can change the border if I want to, the color of the border. I can make this border rounder if I want to, okay? So there's a bunch of ways you can customize it. I'm just going to leave that as is. In fact, this is actually a little bit green, I think. So let's go ahead and change that color. Let's change it to, let's just go with gray. So I'm just going to slide this over and make it more gray. You can see it down here. Okay, and I'm going to apply. So that way it's more gray and doesn't really stand out. I think they made it green to match this button. So I can make it orange if I want to because I saved that color. But I'm just going to leave it gray. And then there's a bunch of other things. You can add a shadow if you want. And if you are more of the techie type, then you can add some HTML attributes to that. But that looks pretty cool. So we're going to leave it like that. Okay. Now we're going to click on the button. Okay. And the button says get it now. So we're going to change that. First of all, you can just highlight and change that. I think it was said get it now. Get it now. So we're going to change that and capitalize it to get it now. Okay. And we need to increase the font size. This is a little bit small. So we want to increase the font size a little bit for this particular portion here. So we're going to go to typography. Okay. It's at 16 right now. Let's increase the size. I don't know. Let's go up to, let's make it a little bit more big because we want people to opt in here. So we're going to go with, let's go with 30 point. Okay. And then let's make it bold. All right. So let's see that. It looks pretty good. Okay. It looks pretty good. So the get it now button is done. Okay. But we also want to change the color. Okay. So right now it's green and we're going to try and match it to this orange. Okay. So I'm going to click back here on the master color. And you can see we saved the color earlier, right? So I'm just going to click on my color swatch here and change the color and apply. So now we've changed the color to the orange that we had. Now let's take a look at what we had up here. Get it now. Okay, so now we need to go from a vertical to a horizontal. This is horizontal again. We need to go from vertical to horizontal. So the way that you're going to do that is you are going to click. If you notice that these two boxes here, each has a directional arrow. Okay, this one is blue and this one's green. All you have to do is grab one of these and move it into the other field here. And what happens now is it's now horizontal. Okay, so let's take a look. Horizontal, horizontal. Now, what we want to do is maybe we want to increase the size of this field because they might have a long email address and we want to shrink down the button. So we just can slide it left or right to get the right size button. Okay. If we want to widen this out again, like we did earlier, what we have to do is we have to stretch this out. Okay. So these dotted lines here, we can stretch those out. But for now, what we're looking at looks pretty good. Okay. So we can either leave it that way or we can make more adjustments. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to increase the size of this to kind of match the size of the box. Okay, so I'm going to go into typography and I'm going to increase the size a little bit here so the box increases as well. Okay, so I think we did 30, so I'm going to go with 30. Okay, so that looks good. And then we're going to click done. Okay, so now we are done with that box. So this is what it looks like so far. Okay, and we've got this up here. All right, and then now the last element that we need to add is our footer. So the copyright, name of your company, and the disclaimer. So let's go in here and we want to add in some text. So we're going to go here, I'm going to drag it, and we want it below the columns that we had. Okay, so here it is. Okay, and we need to change the text. So what I did was I copied it off of the site. I'm just going to add it in here. I'm going to drop it in here. And we're going to center this. So let's go ahead and center this. Okay, so now that's centered. We also want to increase the size of the text. Okay, so let's go ahead and drag the slider so we can make it as big as we want, but we want to make it somewhat noticeable, but not a whole lot noticeable. Okay, because we don't want to distract from the experience. Also, we want to change the font. So let's go back in and let's go back to our Google Fonts. And you know, again, you can choose whatever you want. I mean, if you want to choose Montserrat, which is another favorite font of mine, or you can go back to Lato, whatever you want. Okay, so in this case, we're just stick with Lato. And then what we need to do is we need to change the color, because this color is kind of like a light gray. And it's light gray because we don't want it to distract from them filling out the form and submitting the button. Okay, so now we're going to go back here and we're going to change the color. Okay, right now it's black. So let's go ahead and let's change it. So we're going to slide this up here and we're going to make it a little bit more on the lighter gray side, just like that. Okay, perfect. And then you change this information to add your company name, and this we're going to use as a link to our disclaimer page. Now, what you need to do with any type of landing page is you got to have a disclaimer, a privacy policy, you know, terms and conditions. Okay, that's super important. It's required. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight that piece of text, and you're going to go up here to the link button right here. You're going to click on that, and you're going to type in your URL for your privacy page or your disclaimer page, right? So in this case, I'm just going to use this as an example. So I'm going to go HTTPS, and we're going to go with google.com. Okay, and whenever they click on it, it's going to open in a new tab. If you uncheck this, what will happen is if they click on the disclaimer link, it's going to take them directly to the page. So we want them to open up the disclaimer in a new tab, so we'll leave it as is. We're going to click on that. Now what you notice is this becomes blue, and it's like very, very, very blue, very noticeable. So we want to change that. So we're going to highlight that again. Okay, and then we're going to want to change the color of this. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, oops, we don't have to highlight it. Let's just click anywhere in here, and you can see that it is blue, and we want to change it to gray. So we're going to go back and we're going to choose a color, right? So you can choose any color you want. Let's try and make it as close as possible. I'm going to slide it up a little bit here. Okay, and there we go. There's our gray. Okay, so you can see that it looks pretty good. All right, it's already linked. You can do multiple things with this link as well. So if I click on the link itself, I can choose an effect. Okay, so I can do a thin underline. I can do no underline. So if I do no underline, they're not going to know that this is a link. So I want them to know that the disclaimer is a link. So I'm going to choose thin underline. I can do thick underline. I can do a wiggle. So let's just show you what the wiggle does. If I hover over it, it wiggles. Okay, but for this exercise, we're just going to choose thin underline. Okay, and then we're going to apply it. Now let's compare our pages. Pretty good, right? Okay, pretty close. So there's some spacing things that we need to do, so we can do that as well. We want to drop this lower. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just click in that area, and then we're going to click on layout and position, and then we're going to increase the space between this area and the columns. Okay, so one thing that we can do is do it from the top. Okay, so as you can see, I'm dragging it up like that. Okay, and I can even do it this way too. I can grab this element and I can stretch it out this way. Okay, but for this exercise, we'll just do it this way. Okay, so we'll just stretch it make it further out, okay? Because we don't want it to be too noticeable. We want it to be noticeable, but kind of far, far away from the main point here, okay? So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Okay, there's a little bit of space in between, but overall pretty close. So what we can do is we can go in here, and again, we can change the spacing, okay? So let's drop this a little bit lower, okay? And then let's do the same with the column. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to drop it a little bit lower, just like this, okay? All right, that looks pretty good. So you could see the alert coming up saying save your work. So always save your work, all right? So just click on this green button here, save work. And what will happen is your page is now saved. If you want to preview your page, you go ahead and click on the preview button. And this is what our landing page looks like. Okay, perfect. And compare it to this one. All right. So one other thing that I forgot to add, so I'm just adding this on to this part of the video, is that after you build your landing page, you want to make sure that you check the page in mobile view, okay? Because not everybody's going to be accessing your page through their web browser, okay, on their desktop. So what you need to do is, if you look down here, there's three options here. The option that we're on and we built this landing page on is in the desktop view. Now, if you click on the one at the far right, this is called the mobile view. So if you click on that, this looks like a little mobile device, and you can see how everything is just kind of, jumbled together, okay? So we need to fix that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to fix this part. So what we can do is we can highlight the text, because this is really, really large. We want to make it a little bit smaller. So what we can do is we can highlight the text and actually make it smaller, okay? So we're going to slide this over, and we're just going to make it a little bit smaller. Oops, I didn't get the top one here. So we're going to do this, okay? Make it a little bit smaller. We're going to adjust the line height too, okay? Because right now, the line height's not so good. Well, actually, it looks not bad since we reduced the size, okay? So we'll stick with 30, let's say, okay? And then we can also drop down the size of this subhead, because we don't want it to be just as big as our headline. So we can go ahead and we can shrink that down as well. So let's go to maybe 18 point, okay? We want this, I'll keep this big because again, this is what I want them to do, is to input their email address. And then down here on the bottom, everything looks good, okay? So what will happen now is I can save this version, mobile version here, okay? And whatever I save in the mobile version, any change that I make will not apply to the desktop version. So I'll click on desktop, and as you can see, it still looks normal, like how it did before, okay? When I click on the mobile version, it looks good, okay? So always remember, when you create your landing page, to always check in the mobile version, because not everybody's going to be accessing your landing page via their desktop, okay? And you can also, click on preview if you want to preview it. But the main thing is that you save your work. So there you have it. How to build a landing page using Thrive Architect. What do you think? Not hard to do at all, right? Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. And if you're looking to start your affiliate marketing business, then click on the link below to follow a proven step-by-step beginner-friendly blueprint and start making money online today. This is Ken Furukawa from kenfurukawa.com, and I'll see you in my next video.